Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Saturday, October the 18th, 2025, and today's topic is going to be details, which is right here. I'm wrapping up a deep dive into this idea of the mindset and the stages of drawing or of completing a drawing. But before we begin, welcome back if you're returning, and welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day, and I use a timer to stay focused and to build a habit. I'll start a 10-minute timer. But to begin with, before I start sketching for today, so yeah, this is where I ended up, and I'll put a couple of pictures. Then the first one will be about the first before picture was from imagination. Like, that's the sketching stage, and you don't have to sketch from imagination, but that's what this series was about. And then in the second before picture, that's like I call it like the shading, but really it can also be like the outline of it, because it establishes light and dark is really what's happening, and it's tightening up like the sketch. Here's like the details, so that's where we're at today. And just keep in mind that each stage has its own approach, or like a mindset, if you will. And 80% of what I do is sketching. Like that's really what the channel is. I mean, 80% of the channel is sketching, and that's basically what I do most of the time. And by that, I just mean kind of like this. So this page sort of shows the whole, like all the stages. So this is just doodling from imagination and like sketching. I call doodling sort of mindless, but then when you start to like make it into something, then it starts to be a little bit more like a sketch. And then this one, there's a video about this too, where it starts to be something a little bit more specific. This one is kind of the same thing. It's just employing more intermediate, I would call it kind of like intermediate ideas of perspective and stuff like that. Like it's more complex. Just wanted to kind of go over like what you can do here. Each stage is its own thing. So like with sketching, like its thing is kind of like the looseness of it, or like the gesture of it, or like the idea of it. The next one, the shading, I'll just call it that, like the second stage. It does a lot of work. It does a lot of heavy lifting. And yeah, if you check out the other videos, you'll see. And like sometimes it comes from fixing things. So for example, this lighting scheme where like the light's coming from here, it's a lot different now that I'm detailing it, but really it came from the fact that I was fixing like this area, and then I just went with it. I just kept it like kind of consistent. But like when you get to like the details, yeah, I definitely would look up like reference for different things. So for example, I looked up like medieval rooftops, and I found a lot of cool black and white pictures, which happened to like help out a lot because this is pen and ink. So when you get to like that part, that's really to me like where like, well, the detail, the fun part there is, I like to say like God and the devil's in the details. So that's where a lot of the goodness is. But like it's built upon a structure. It comes from imagination. Like it doesn't have to. You could look at something. You could have started with the reference. So it, again, that's like, it's just like a mindset. But yeah, you can literally spend hours just working on the details. But like, yeah, once you actually get to the detail stage, which is what this is, like you could, I mean, like there's really no limit to it. One thing is, maybe I'll just kind of go over like how would you do, or like how I would do like this kind of stuff, because I kind of mentioned that in yesterday's video. So like a few things, I mean, look up photos at this point. And as I'm looking at like different photos, I get ideas for like some of the lighting. One thing that helps, for example, is since this is detail, you might want to get like a thinner pen. I tend to stick with one for a while, but yeah, like once you actually move into the detail, like it helps to use different. So like for example here, I use like a brush pen that I have. So something a little bit more broad, like just to fill in the dark area. But I tend to go in this sort of methodology because it gives me room to fix things and like add things and stuff like that and adjust things. Because what the worst feeling is once you get like a lot of detail, but like it's off, like you notice like something is weird about it, like off about it, then you're probably gonna have to like kind of fix some things. Kind of like this, you have to go in and like paint over it. But I mean, it's not a terrible look. I mean, it can look okay. I just don't like to like fix it, but But in any case, so like for example, like here, this was sort of just set up like it's already there. So just to clean this up, if you had just sketched it in pencil, you might not have these construction lines like this. So I'm just gonna incorporate it. So for example, just to begin with, I'm just gonna go like this. So in these areas, it's sort of showing the steps, like even within like the one drawing here, it is showing like the steps. Like I wouldn't, for example, sit down and think, okay, now I have to like detail all of that. Like you really don't. So here I'm just approaching it like the way that I did the other more detailed part, like right here. It's the same difference. It's just I might leave it like that. So that's one way to do that. But because part of that is also the perspective, or like the depth of it. It looks further away if it's not as detailed. Like it gives you the eye something to follow. And that's like an artistic kind of thing. Because the thing with photography is a lot of times its whole thing is to try to make it look a little bit more like the way the eyes like see things, like the way vision. Because with photography, everything is like in focus, and so they do a lot of stuff to make it like artistic, so to speak. But the opposite here, where if you're drawing something, it's artistic just because it's not a photograph, like it doesn't look that real, but like you're adding, so it's up to you like how much realism you want to add to it. And so I tend to find stuff that isn't hyper realistic a little more interesting, because it gives my imagination something to work with, like, so I can kind of imagine different things. So that's what like you can do here, just to make this part look more detailed. But that's basically the process of making like this part look more detailed. Now, once you get here, like compared to back here, like this is a lot more detailed. But even within the detail, you can actually go even more detailed. So for example, you might decide that like right here, like this kind of thing. And this is where like photos help, because you can, like, photos are very detailed, so you can just kind of get ideas. So for example here, with the finer point, you might go in and just do this. And this is what I mean about, you could literally spend hours, which is kind of fun. I mean, once the picture looks good, like it's pretty relaxing. And just kind of make a decision like, okay, well, I'm going to go in and... So notice like it's more detailed because the shapes are smaller and like more defined. Which is to say like it kind of has like more resolution. But because it's artistic, or like you're drawing it, you can choose. You don't have to make like the whole thing like that. And I kind of prefer it like that. Like I prefer that not all of it is... I mean, it just depends on how you want to do it. You can... Same with this. I mean, this is more of a symbolic raven. It's not that realistic, but I mean, I like it kind of like this. Like, in a way, like maybe this is a zoomed in version, so it could be kind of like a comic. Like, because I tend to want to make everything into a comic anyway. So same with this. It's about, like, once you get to here, you can clean up this stuff. So this is like, to me, not detail. This to me is light and dark, like with built upon the sketch. But to make it detailed, you can crosshatch. And part of that is because it's the tile of the roof, but part of it is when I crosshatch, it changes the value. And then part of it is also cleaning it. Just, it makes it look more, I'm just cleaning like the edges and stuff. So that's really what the... It's really what the detail stage is about, and you take your time, and then because you already did all the hard work, and then you just kind of look at it. And again, if you have reference, which I recommend by the time you get to like this kind of thing, it's kind of like building a model. I mean, you want to see like the like what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, and just kind of refer to it, which is how I use reference. I refer to it, I don't copy it. But that's really what I wanted to go over. And yeah, this is kind of an experiment. I mean, I've been doing these like kind of deep dives and series. Sometimes some videos are more like a couple of videos that kind of go together. This one, these are like 5 videos, which is kind of a lot, but I think that they help me, and so hopefully they help you, and I'll look into like making it into some kind of course, and then maybe other courses and stuff, but we'll see. But that'll be it for today, and I want to thank you for joining me for our daily sketching routine. And if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it, and until next time, keep on sketching.